Welcome to the video. Today I am going to be reading and answering some sex questions that I have found on the internet, on Reddit in particular. And as a sex coach, I find myself qualified to answer these questions for you guys in hopes that some of you might also have these questions and we can learn from these people's inquiries and have better sex because of it. Alright, so let's start reading some questions and answering them. Alright, first question. 26 male, basically a virgin. I'm not sure what basically a virgin means. I guess they've basically had sex, but what does that mean? I don't know. But anyway, let's get into this question. Started seeing this girl, and we will probably have sex the next time we meet. I'm nervous to the point of shaking just thinking about it. It even messes with my appetite and sleep. How can I calm down? Any tips? And he goes on to say that this girl is more sexually experienced than himself, and he starts pretty much opening up, saying, what if I'm not big enough? What if I'll be bad in bed? All these kind of what if scenarios, hypothetical scenarios about the first time they ever have sex. And let me just say that this is a common issue. Sexual performance and the anxiety that comes along with it is a very real thing, and it affects a lot of people. It has affected me before, and has affected a ton of people that I know and have worked with. So first of all, I would say you're not alone in feeling these feelings of anxiety. It's a stressful thing. And especially these days, we put so much more emphasis on sex. We've kind of created this culture of hookups and casual sex, and so the importance of being good at sex now becomes even more important. Becomes even more stressful because we have to perform well, because likely who we have sex with, they're going to talk about it to their friends and it might be embarrassing, and you don't want to be the worst of the bunch that this person has slept with, because you know they have a ton of experience because they're hooking up left and right, which is not good in general. But anyway, so how do you combat this? How do you get over this anxiety? Well, you can first of all do whatever you can to ensure that that first sexual experience is a good one. That means getting over the awkwardness and talking about sex and asking them what they like about sex and being confident when you ask them these things. Because what is more sexy than some guy that's going to just ask you what you like about sex and actually figure out what makes you tick and what is going to be enjoyable for you? That will set you up as a really sexual, arousing partner for them, so you're already kicking it up a notch. Next thing I would do is focus more on foreplay than the actual sexual experience itself. If you can spend more time during foreplay and just really go at it then, and just make sure that you both are extremely horny, you are dirty talking them, there is no room for them to be thinking about anything else except banging you. If you achieve this during foreplay by just extending it and doing all these kind of things to build up that anticipation of the actual sex, then you don't have to work as hard during the sexual experience to impress them and to be amazing, because their mind is going to take them there anyway, and they're going to be having a good time pretty much regardless of what you do physically. You have to consider that the brain is the biggest and most important sex organ in the body, and so if you can stimulate the mind, then you basically win and you will have a great sexual experience. You do this by extending that foreplay, giving them ample time to build up that stimulation, that excitement, that arousal, that horniness, if you will. And then you continue that, and you make sure they are immersed in the experience the whole time by communicating them directly throughout the whole experience. So you have to dirty talk them. You have to look them in the eye. You have to tell them to look you in the eye. You have to keep touching them. Keep everything going. And don't ever get complacent in this, because as soon as you find yourself drifting and your mind wandering, your partner is probably doing the same. And trust me, a wandering mind is no good if you want a good quality sexual experience. So that's basically it. Play to your strengths and make sure your partner is psychologically stimulated. Then you won't have to be so anxious. If you're still anxious about things like physical characteristics, like the size of your penis or how long you can last in bed, then you just have to shift your mindset and realize that those things aren't the most important things when determining the quality of sex. The most important thing is how aroused your partner is. And so forget about these things, forget about these insecurities. Also, if you already talked about sex to your partner, like I have mentioned before, these insecurities will kind of go away because you'll feel more comfortable and more able to be expressive in that experience. And they will too. If they're more comfortable with you, then they will be able to enjoy that sexual experience even more. There's really nothing to worry about. Likely, if this person is casually hooking up with people, that sex isn't that great anyway. It's going to be mostly physical. It's going to be mostly vanilla. People aren't going to be doing crazy things to try to impress that person. They're going to be playing it safe because they don't quite know what that person likes or dislikes. And so, if you are actually taking the time and attention and talking to this person and figuring out what they actually like, and then you can do those things, or you've just at least broach the topic of sex so they are more comfortable with you than they would be with any other stranger, then those things alone will set you apart and make you a better sexual partner than anyone that they've had sex with before. Casual sex is not going to ever provide a great sexual experience. It can provide good ones if you are lucky, but that's basically it. It can't go any higher than that unless you actually get to know that person and you can kind of connect on a deeper level and be able to do whatever you want to do in that sexual experience and whatever they want to do in that sexual experience. So don't look at it as like a competition between past sexual partners. And if you do and you're watching this video, then you're already a step ahead because you know that the mind is the most important factor in having good sex and providing good quality sex. So even going from there, the sexual experience is going to be better. Anxiety, it is a hard thing to kind of get rid of, but if you can kind of have the courage to have these sexual conversations with your partner, that will kind of ease up that tension, reduce that awkwardness. You'll be more comfortable with that person and not as afraid to perform and express yourself during that experience. That will make the sex better for your partner and for yourself. So yeah, just talk about it. It has been said that anxiety comes from not being prepared or not feeling like you're prepared. So go into this sexual experience with a goal of stimulating their mind over the physical stimulation part of it, and go in with the idea that you are going to extend foreplay as long as you can to ensure that your partner is extremely aroused and horny and ready to go. The more information you can get about your partner's desires, what they like and dislike during sex, the more prepared you will be and the less anxious you will be as a result of that. All right. Time to move on to question number 2, I think. Question number 2 says, boyfriends suddenly amazing at sex? Well, maybe they've been watching my videos. And if you haven't, take this opportunity right now to go ahead and subscribe so that you can see even more videos in the future. I do daily videos, so come back and learn some more stuff. And then you too can be amazing at sex all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Your partner's going to be like, what happened? Question number 3. I've always faked my penetrative orgasms and I want to stop. So this person kind of goes on to say that they've been faking their penetrative orgasms. They don't have to fake their orgasms when it's like oral or fingering, but when it's the actual sex part, they usually fake it. And they don't actually feel like they can achieve a penetrative orgasm. And what I would say is, if your goal is to achieve orgasm in penetrative sex, then why are you faking an orgasm in penetrative sex? Because what this is doing is reinforcing behaviors and stimulation techniques that are clearly not working for you. One of the most rewarding things that you can do for a sexual partner is give them the idea that you are having an orgasm, because that's the main goal of most sexual encounters. You're trying to get that person off, and if you feel like you can provide a sexual experience to them that leads to orgasm and maybe leads to orgasm easily and efficiently, that's an amazing feeling, and it's going to be an extreme confidence booster. And it's so rewarding that you will remember what you did during that sexual experience in order to repeat that, in order to get the same results the next time you guys have sex. So by faking an orgasm, you see what you're doing. You are reinforcing behaviors that don't lead you to an orgasm, but that your partner thinks do. And so they're going to repeat the same mistakes, the same things that they did, thinking that they led you to orgasm when they actually don't. So it's really not beneficial at all. The next thing that you should do if you are trying to reach a penetrative orgasm is come clean and communicate that with your partner. Tell them that you have never reached an orgasm during penetrative sex ever before, and it's a goal of yours, and you want to work on that. You know how motivating that will be for your partner? You think they don't want to be the first person to give you that amazing orgasm that you've been seeking? Of course they do. And they're going to do anything they can to help you achieve that because they want to be that person that can do that for you. Trust me, if there's anything in sex that you want to achieve that you have never done before, and you express that to your partner, there is nothing else more motivating than that, than to be the first person to actually give you that experience. So go and do that, and it's going to be amazing, and you will achieve amazing things if you are just honest and you stop faking these orgasms. It's so counterintuitive, it'll ruin your sex, and it's just a terrible thing to do. So stop faking orgasms. Question number 4, that is, how do you warn that you are packing a small pee before sex? So they go on and say to save themselves from the humiliation of revealing their small penis. And I will say, as I have said many times, that size doesn't matter. And if you think it does, then play to your strengths rather than what you perceive to be your weaknesses. So stimulate that mind rather than focusing on your physical technique with the perception that you have this small penis that can't quite provide that physical technique that you would want to provide with a bigger penis, or that you think that you could provide with a larger member. Orgasms are achieved through the mind, not through the penis, no matter how big or small it is. Of course, there is that physical component to sex, otherwise the sex wouldn't happen. But how that person perceives that physical stimulation is what drives the orgasm. So it is not just the physical technique, it is so much more. Their mood, their feelings, their arousal, their passion, their immersion in that experience, all of these factors are determining whether that physical stimulation will rise to the orgasm level. And it's not size-based. It is really mental-based. You could be doing the same physical stimulation a bunch of different times that you guys have sex, and depending on their mental state, that's going to determine the quality of those sexual experiences. So if you can work on things like dirty talk, staying in the moment, adding in more foreplay, maybe adding in some fetishes, some fantasies, some kinks, talking about sex with that partner so they're more comfortable with you and more able to be expressed. Work on those things rather than harping on the fact that you think you have a small penis or an inadequate penis when you probably don't. But play to your strengths, play to your partner's mind. The psychological stimulation part is far more important. And also, the people that are going to care about the size of your penis are not people that you want to have sex with. And they're usually going to be casual hookups in which the sex is not going to be good anyway. So rather than finding someone that just wants casual sex, find someone that you can be with for an extended period of time, that you can get comfortable with, have better sexual experiences because of that, and then not have to worry about the size of your penis with all these new people and trying to warn them about what they might see. Listen, the most unconfident, weakest thing you can possibly do pretty much is to apologize for things before they've happened, especially sexually, saying, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be that good at sex, or I'm sorry, my penis isn't big enough. All you're doing is bringing attention to these things that you don't like, and because you're apologizing for them, your partner is going to perceive them as already negative because it's something that you have to apologize for, that you feel like you have to apologize for. And so it's already going to have a negative connotation. So you're basically just injecting this negativity into sex when it doesn't necessarily have to be there, and it might not even be there for that particular partner. So don't warn about things, don't apologize for things before they happen, because you're just setting yourself up for failure, and you're diminishing the expectation of good sex. And because sex is so psychologically driven, any negativity, any low expectations will create sex that is just that. It is negative. It achieves the low expectation, and there's nothing more than that. So there you go. I hope these answers to these questions helped out. I might have gone on a little bit too long there in some of those questions, but these were topics that were definitely worth discussing, definitely worth going over. So I hope you learned something. If you did and you found this video informative, please give me a like, consider subscribing if you are new, and come back for more daily videos. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.